Hey guys, Dan Greer, Eclipse DOT, coming at you from out at the test site today. We're actually doing some CDL testing and some training. I'm going to let you peek behind us. We got some guys back there doing some training. Awesomeness, right? Been doing a couple CDL tests today. It's been a really great day. Beautiful fall day. It was colder than crap this morning. It was like 27 degrees. Anyways, I was sitting here for a minute and I was like, man, I got a couple minutes between tests. I'm going to take a few seconds and show you guys how to do a vehicle inspection down the side of a tractor trailer. Now, don't laugh at our truck. I know it's kind of old, but you know what? It's got one sexy logo on it. Anyways, stop laughing. It's okay. I understand. Anyways, just kind of want to go over a little bit. Sorry about the background noise. You just got to kind of deal with it. That's what happens when you work in the trucking industry, right? So we're going to go ahead and do our inspection. As we do the inspection, we want to go ahead and make sure that the mirror is mounted secure properly, that the glass is clear, that it's in place, and that it's clean as well. From there, we want to check the door, make sure the door is mounted and secure. Go ahead and open the door, lift up on the door just a little bit to make sure that it's mounted secure properly in there, and then close it. Before we close it though, we're going to go ahead and check the weather stripping, this stuff right here, all the way around it. If it's got weather stripping on the cab, we want to check that as well. Close the door, make sure that it closes well in there. Next, we're going to check our grab handle, make sure that our grab handle is in good condition. And then next, we're going to kind of move on down here. Let me see if I can do this. We're going to move on down here. I am not smart enough to do this with a camera. Sorry, guys. Going to check our steps, make sure that they're mounted secure. That also means that the fuel tank is mounted. Then we want to check right here to make sure that this rubber bearing, this rubber gasket, whatever you want to call it, so it's not metal on metal onto the fuel tank. There's something between it, fire hose, rubber, whatever. I want to go ahead and check our lid. Make sure our lid's on tight. Okay. Wasn't tight, was it? Anyways, if we took it off, we'd make sure that there was a chain in there, rubber seal in the lid, that kind of stuff. We also want to make sure there's no fuel leaks here. And then we're going to check under the fuel tank as well for leaks as we go down the side of the truck. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we're going to come back here. We're going to go ahead and check our battery box right now. So we want to make sure the battery box is mounted secure, that the step is mounted secure, it's tight. From there, we can actually see the drive line. This is a great spot to go in there and see that drive line. You can see it. And if we got in there and laid our hands on it, we would actually make sure that it doesn't have too much play in it. Want to make sure those U-joints are tight on both sides of it. As we come up, we're going to go ahead and check our catwalk out right now. Make sure our catwalk's mounted and secure, it's tight. It's okay if it's a little loose, but we don't want to like falling off or missing bolts, anything like that. From here, we can see our exhaust. We want to make sure that the exhaust is mounted secure. There's no leaks on the exhaust. Some of the signs for exhaust leaks would be like black soot if it's pre-def. If it's post-def, it'll actually be like a white powdery substance. No, it's not cocaine. It's actually DEF, liquid urea. That's all DEF is. That's a whole nother story, but anyways, we can totally get into that later. We're not going to focus on the connection of the truck and the trailer, just the truck. We'll actually do a whole nother one for the truck and the trailer connection. After that, we're going to kind of come on back here, and I just want to sneak underneath this back axle here. Okay, so now that we're here, I always like to start on the inside. Let's go in a little bit more so we can actually see it. Now I'm going to get out of this and show you guys what you need to see. Just a second here. All right, boom. Okay, so right here, you can kind of see the slack adjuster is right there. We want to make sure that the slack adjuster is 90 degrees from the brake chamber. That brake chamber, we want to make sure that it's mounted secure. It has both C-clamps on it. Both those C-clamps are tight. And that those hoses coming out of the brake chamber right in there are nice and tight. There's no bubbles in them, no air leaks, anything like that. Also want to make sure that we're well lubricated on the slack adjuster. Go ahead and check our pumpkin, this big guy right here. As we go back, we're looking for grease leaks, oil leaks, anything like that. Make sure that it's mounted and secure. Okay, this is a great spot to check our frame. We want to look at our frame on both sides to make sure that it's mounted secure. There's no cracks, breaks, welds, anything like that, and that all the cross members are in there. That dripping you see is just water. We got some snow the other day, so the trailer's still got some water on it. Anyways, from there, we're gonna go ahead and sneak underneath here. Give you a view. We can see the brakes here. So you can actually see the pads and the drums. We wanna make sure that the pads are mounted secure and that the drums are mounted secure and they're not grooved or worn dangerously thin on either one of those. That kind of takes us to the suspension. This old truck has spring suspension on it. So what we're looking at right there is the U-bolts where they connect to the axle. Even if it didn't have spring suspension, we would be checking those U-bolts to make sure that they're good. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is kind of work our way out a little bit. Check our springs. So we're going to check the rear spring mount and the front spring mount to make sure they're mounted secure. There's no cracks, no breaks, anything like that. Then we want to check our leaf pack itself. Make sure that those springs are in good condition. Also, make sure that these are right here. Those keepers are there that stop those springs from shifting or scissoring. And if there is any shifting or scissoring, we want to get that addressed right away. From there, move on to our wheel. We're going to check all wheels on the back exactly the same, inside, top, outside, inside, top, outside. What we're looking for is ABCs, abrasions, bulges, or cuts. We also want to make sure we have at least 4 32/2 of an inch of tread, which we definitely have these on these tires. And then the last thing we want to do is go ahead and check right in here in the center to make sure there's no objects in there, so that they're nice and tight. The wheels are tight together, the tires are touching, the wheels are, wait, beep, back that up. The wheels are touching, the tires are not. We also want to check for the sidewalls to make sure they're in good condition. Our tires are worn evenly, and that we do have the same style of tires, radial or bias ply, either way, on all the way across, and that they're the same size. Okay, the last thing we want to do is go ahead and move on out to the outside. We're going to work our way down. Check our lug nuts, make sure that they're tight. Actually lay hands on those lug nuts to make sure they're tight. A few things we can tell if a lug nut's loose is if there's rust ring around it or some streaking rust. If it's aluminum rim, it might show some blackness on it. Then we want to go ahead and check these bolts right here for our hub, make sure that they're tight. We want to look for leaking. I have seen these leak on the inside as well as the outside, so we want to make sure that there's no leaking either way. Some of the ways we'll tell if there's leaking is there'll be like streaking going across the rim, anything like that. We want to check our rims. We want to check all of our rims exactly the same. What we're looking for on our rims is that they're mounted and secure. Also, that there's no dents, deformities, welds, anything like that on them. From there, we move out and check our tire one more time. Last thing we want to do is kind of move around here to the back of the truck. This truck does not have mud flaps on it. It's actually not required that the tractor have mud flaps as long as you're hooked up to a trailer. Now, if we were bobtailing, we'd have to throw some mud flaps on this bad boy, but we don't have to here. Last thing we want to do is go and check those lights. We want to check the lens condition of those lights, make sure that they're in good operating condition, red behind the rear axles, that they're clear, they're not fogged, and that we will check the operation of them here in just a little bit. You know, guys, that's pretty much it. I might have missed it, but the truth is that that's like the whole inspection for the side of the truck. It's not that hard. It doesn't take that long. We did it in like 7 minutes. Make sure that you say whenever you're doing it that everything's mounted and secure, and that, you know, you're looking for leaks. If it's metal, you look for BBCs, break spins or cracks. If it's rubber, you look for ABCs, abrasions, bulges, or cuts. One of the things that I didn't mention that I kind of want to bring up real quick is just in the battery box. Take this bad boy off and check the batteries. You want to make sure they're not sweating, nothing like that, okay? Definitely won't be sweating today. It's like, literally, it's warmed up to 40 degrees. It's gorgeous out here. So anyways, that's it, guys. That's the whole side of the truck. That's like nothing. All right, hope you guys have a great day. We'll be talking to you soon.